Our next speaker is no stranger to the world of mental health and diabetes. Like Sebastian, he has also begun to share his story, both in person and in writing. But tonight he's here to share a little bit about how he boosts his mental health, which is performing live music with his band. But before we bring Tony onto the virtual stage, let's take a look at him and his band in action.
Here we go, here we go.
Hi, Tony. Every time we watch that video, we're all boogieing backstage. It is great.
Oh, good. That's the last number in the set, so we usually pretty together by the end of 2 hours. So
yeah. I imagine that's why everyone's going crazy in the audience as well.
Yes.
Yes.
It was a beer festival as well, so everybody had, lots of
So good vibes all around. Nice. Before we get on to mental health and diabetes, could you quickly tell us a little bit about your band and what you play?
Yeah, we're kind of a band of friends who have been together for kind of 10 or 15 years, and so we do weddings, corporate events and stuff. So yeah, it's but they're kind of family more than mates. We socialize a lot and stuff, and so it's good. It's a bit of a break from reality for me. Those 2 hours on stage.
Oh, that's really lovely. Especially the family description. I imagine you really bond really well. So how does music benefit your mental health as someone living with diabetes?
It's been for me. I've been playing instruments since I was 9 or 10, and it's been a constant throughout my life and it's a safe place for me. Particularly it was interesting that Sebastian talked about his safe place. For me, it's it's up here in a room surrounded by instruments, and that's no matter how bad I feel in terms of burnout and stuff, there's always one steady thing in my life, and that's usually music. Particularly listening, playing. My bandmates are well aware of my condition, and so I always know that I've got somebody who's got my back, and particularly for me, burnout is almost seasonal. I tend to suffer kind of quite badly throughout the autumn and winter. And those are generally the times when I struggle with the day-to-day, hour-by-hour stuff that comes along with our condition. So, as I said, being able to, particularly with having a bad blood sugar day, I can come upstairs, stick some disco on, and play and lose myself. So that's how music helps me.
Yeah, we just had a comment in from Tino. Music truly has the power to heal and uplift. I would absolutely agree with that.
Absolutely, yes, indeed.
Yeah. So on the topic of mental health and live performance, I imagine that there are a lot of challenges that you face when you are on the road going to gigs. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're up against there?
Yeah, it's about. I think for me, it's about trying to turn everything into a routine, and so but there are variances in where gigs are and what kind of gigs they are, and what we're offered for food, and so there's a lot of variables. But I always try and keep stuff consistent, and so I'll have things like hyper treats in the same place. I'll wear my Apple Watch, facing inwards, so that I can always see when I'm playing, and little things like that have over the years I've kind of got to know, because things like the adrenaline rush is quite a big thing to deal with. Like for instance, now we all get a rush of adrenaline coming out of our shell, and so that's the thing that I kind of have pre-programmed in. I know that as soon as we've packed away after the gig, which is a physical thing, you know, we're moving stuff, equipment in and out of cars, I know that I'll have something with me in the car for the drive home. And so and then afterwards, when I get home and done all the same things, packed all the stuff away, there is that then drop. And particularly with adrenaline, I'll generally find I'm awake until 3 o'clock in the morning, because it's, you know, it's a rush. And so in order to create the routine of how I deal with that in terms of eating and drinking, that's the thing. It's about consistency, trying to make sure that I kind of have those consistencies where there are variances, what type of food we're given, if we're given food, how long the gig is, you know, where it is, how long the drive, all those are variables, but I like to keep my consistencies.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. We have a couple of comments before I give you one more question. This one from Mark made me chuckle when I saw it. Don't mix up your T-Slim with your in-ear monitors controller, buddy. Imagine the screeching from that pump through the thing would be quite painful. And we also have one from Heather. Tony, despite not being able to play a single instrument, music has a soothing and healing effect on me. Thank you so much.
Oh.
Yeah. And then my last question really was specifically to when you're on stage. I imagine that is the worst time to go low. I imagine with the heat from the lamps, the excitement, also all the moving about you do as a performer, that is kind of the prime moment to drop. How do you manage that?
Again, it's about routine. The amount of Cokes, full fat Cokes I've brought over the years to have next to me on stage and not drunk. I mean, but it's a small sacrifice to go to the bar and at least have something which is easy to get. The rest, as I said, the rest of the guys in the band are really aware of kind of my type 1, and they are, you know, again, I said about getting my back. You know, there's been a couple of instances where Jo, the singer, she's noticed that I'm starting to kind of drift, and it's, you know, they'll break the set at the end of the song and fill a bit whilst I'm coking it. So yeah, it's just again, it doesn't generally happen during the gig. It's because the adrenaline will rush. So yeah, but that's the thing. It's a simple coke.
Yeah, I can relate to the adrenaline. I'm cruising way too high right now, but
yeah,
we'll come down afterwards. So I actually have a question from the audience from Nupur, who says she's going to check out your band. Really cool. What kind of music do you like?
I'm a massive 70s disco fan. Yeah, funk. We play funk, soul, R&B, but anything disco. In fact, I've even got Bernard Edwards' bass line to Chic, Le Freak tattooed. So yeah, so that's yeah, anything disco. But again, I'll listen to anything. You know, variety is the thing.
Yeah. We have one last comment from Tino. Integrating music into diabetes management highlights the importance of finding joy and stress relief in our daily lives. Tony's approach is refreshing.
Yeah, it is. I think, as I said, I mentioned that consistency thing over the years. It's been somewhere where I've been able to kind of not forget about type 1 completely, but be in a place where a little bit like meditation, be in a place where, you know, you don't have to be Tony type 1, you can just be Tony bass player, and that's a different identity.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Really lovely to hear all of that.
Thank you for the free plug for the band.
You're very welcome.
We'll do mates' rights if you ever get married.
Thank you. Bye.